And facts about Black men and suicide. In 2014, 80% of suicide deaths were in the Black community. And one of the things I didn't share about myself is that my parents were immigrants. So they came from Jamaica. I was born in the States. So this fact was kind of a little bit more interesting to me. This recent search that Caribbean Black men in the US have the highest rate of attempts in African American communities. And then Black men don't recognize depression or trauma as an issue because they don't associate suicidal ideation. Therefore, they don't associate suicidal ideation as a problem. And that's where, where we miss it just a little bit, right? But here, sorry, and then the unspoken traumas that are that they're experiencing that they don't even may not be aware of. Because again, our level of tolerance or what we were told, we don't even relate or connect that that's trauma. It's just, well, that's kind of what happens, and we push through it and we get over it, and um, everything will be all right. Just keep going because you can't pause, right? Because again, there's that sign of weakness if we do. So this is what I was trying to figure out, right? If these are the common pains and frustrations, which is the work-related stress, pressures for a career, leads to burnout, just chronic stress. The racial discrimination, as you can see, is, one of the major ones. Um, and that's in the professional and personal workspace. I experienced that in my own personal experience. And I know as a Black woman, it's hard to live in America, but it's even harder for a Black man in America of the experiences, all of these things combined that you have to experience. That makes it that much more challenging and that much more important to be able to have adequate support. Um, Balance in personal and professional life, right? Difficulty in maintaining work-life balance. And then again, that stigma. I'm even thinking, you said language. I'm trying to think of even different words to be able to use instead of mental health. Because the word mental health, again, people think of crazy and
Hmm.
they have issues. So with you being a life coach, right, I'm like, well, I could probably say coaching, but then does that minimize the significance of it? Like what we're gonna do, like how deep
Yeah.
we may get, right? Um, so the financial pressures, right? Hustle culture is where I go to, and I think of that all the time. It's just we have to keep pushing. We have to keep up with everybody else. We got to follow what everybody else is doing on social media. But at the same time, we're running ourselves ragged, or Black men are running themselves ragged. The relationship difficulties,
Hmm.
um, your personal relationships, work, stress, emotional, just the exhaustion and the lack of communication, which I think is, I don't know about you all, but I think communication is one of the biggest things. We didn't talk. Nobody talked about anything growing up. It's just like,
Yeah.
well, whatever it is what it is. We're not even gonna address that. We'll have the little tiff or whatever, and nothing ever gets resolved. So when I say relationships, it's not even just the romantic relationships. It's learning how to communicate and be able to create boundaries, healthy boundaries, without it becoming a thing. um Emotional fatigue, right? Emotional exhaustion, feeling overwhelmed, just trying to juggle all of these things. And then the final is the lack of supportive networks. So you're feeling isolated and not feeling like you have your tribe. And as a trauma therapist, or just in my work, the deeper work is, if you don't have a solid foundation, just like the basics, your basic needs met, it's harder to do any other work, but it's even harder to just try to keep it all together. I guess if that's the best way for me to say it without trying to get clinical, right? So when we go back and we talk about, okay, well, I've experienced trauma, maybe, what does it even look like? So I try to keep it as simple as possible. It's just the loss of interest in things. The things you used to enjoy doing, you no longer like doing them, or you're no longer interested in doing them. Change in sleep, you're either sleeping too much or not sleeping enough. Irritability, um, increase anger outbursts, I will be transparent in saying that anger is usually my go-to. So this usually can tell like, okay, this probably you probably gonna need to put yourself in a timeout or something like that. So the increased irritability. And then there's that feeling of hopelessness and worthlessness, and then those physical symptoms, those unrecognized or those aches and pains that we have, difficulty focusing, the overwhelm, the excessive worry, the sadness, and feeling down. Those are all signs that you may want to talk to someone. And it doesn't even necessarily have to be a therapist. When I thought of doing this, I didn't even really want to do much of the talking. I just wanted to be here and be able to ask questions and get that conversation going to see if anyone can even relate or share their own experiences um, with any of these. I think there's powers in groups when you can find that connection. It makes things a lot easier to work through. We can always learn from other people. So when I asked you, Rob, I was like, I wrote it all down and I was like, okay, yeah, building trust. Trust is everything. When I think of it as just in general, right? We have trust is everything. And if you're talking about, it doesn't even matter if it's therapy or not, but if you don't trust the person, then how can you begin to open up to them? So this is what my goal is. It's like, how do I get to build trust so that people don't have to worry that I'm bringing in any biases or anything like that?
Yeah.
Um, um, Addressing cultural barriers. And now let me back up on that a little bit. I think one of the things that I think about when I'm in other circles with maybe therapists or professionals, you do hear the biases that some women, maybe even couples therapists, will have when they're talking about it, and it always goes to the man did something wrong. And I'm like, well, why? And I would ask these questions. I was like, oh, wait a minute, do you not realize you might be bringing in your own biases or your own experiences? And I'm like, no, I never thought about that.
Hmm.
Um, so I think that's huge, right? If at least the circles I've been in has happened more often than not, then I can only imagine what it must feel like to be a male and wonder, can I really trust them? Is it going to be, are they going to automatically assume that I should not do this or I should know better or what have you? It was a couple different things we were talking about. Um, Again, the engagement piece is being able to normalize the conversation about mental health, flexible options, which I do virtual and in person, and focus on strength based approaches. I would say in my work, I don't even use diagnoses just because I don't like labels. We have enough labels. I like to talk about how are you feeling? What are those symptoms? What's going well? Um, what's going well and what has worked for you before that we could possibly apply in this area to be able to bring that component of resilience into it, right? And then being able to provide workshops and group sessions just like this, right? How can I get us together? How can I get y'all together? um and make it where it's not scary. I feel like, again, the sense of community is what helps. Going into an office with somebody that you don't know and now you want me to tell you all my business, my deep dark secrets. I'd rather do that maybe on a group level where we can at least, there's some commonalities possibly, even if it's not exact, but I'm not alone. So I know I already asked you guys some of these questions, but um was anything in this that I just shared new? Was any of it new information?
Um, New. I don't think it's new for me because in some form I feel like I lived it, you know. I think a
Yeah.
lot of what you touched on is my story. Um, the fear of being in therapy. I think when I started therapy, I was ready.
Yeah.
I knew I had a problem, and
Yeah.
it was the best investment in my life. You know, literally the
Hmm.
best investment. Um, so
How did you know
I
when you were ready?
Oh, at that time I was on number three of planning my death. So yeah, I was on my third time and I was like, she wanted to continue to talk to me and she was like, I didn't know anything about a sliding scale, but she was
Oh
like,
yeah.
she was willing to help me. And but then she had a situation with her daughter and she had
Um,
to step away. And I was like, abandoned
uh,
me.
that
Like
part. Yeah, for real.
so at that point I was like, okay, well I've had some experience with with therapy, but I'm like, man, like I was like, I'm good, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
went back in the world and was dealing with some of the same had the worst breakup of my life.
Mm.
Um and it was romantic and friendship type of thing. And because they were the only person that saw me, I was like, I can't do this again. And I remember they were the catalyst of me looking for a therapist. And uh, so yes, then I met Kim, who's my therapist now, and she's been great ever since. And I was,
Thank you for sharing. I mean, let me just stop right there. Just thank you so much for sharing.
thank
Because I know sometimes it's not easy to do that. So I appreciate you um being open about your experience.
yeah,
Um, and I like the fact that you said conversation because I feel like that's what it should be, right? Like we
yeah,
should just be talking about whatever it is that you're experiencing. I quit my job of 15 years so that because I couldn't do what I needed to do as far as I was a clinical counselor at a 2-year university, and I was the only Black therapist there.
mm,
Um, and as I started getting into the classrooms and letting people know, well, there's therapy and I'm here, and it was out of things like this was like, oh my gosh, you sound like somebody I could talk to. You sound like you're my aunt or my cousin or whatever, right? So I would get people in. We have these conversations, but oops, sorry, we only have 6 sessions. Hold whatever you just told me, we can't go any further.
wow,
And what do, right? When you start sharing all of that information, that's why I said I commend you for going again, because you just opened up everything. You shared stuff, and you mean to tell me you got to repeat that story again?
yep,
Um, and I think that's where we lose people sometimes.
yep,
Um, out of that fear, or I mean, sounds like both of your experience were at least positive. My first experience was horrible,
wow,
horrible. I would not have gone again if I didn't have to, but I had to. Yeah, it
wow.
was it was pretty bad. And so let me pause right there because James, I see you walking around and you eating bananas and snacks and stuff, but I want to make sure you get some time to chime in because you see, I like talking. But yeah, let's hear from you, James.
They're funny, Tracy. I was just no, I was just literally just hearing hearing Rob's story because Rob shared this with me too, and just sometimes when it hearing it again, I just you know I don't know, I was just like zoned out and just thought about how
Okay.
much it took him going through that, and then also hearing your story about how it's hard for you to have you know, your first time going through therapy and then, be in a space where it's like that's 7 sessions, that's it. Like what? So I'm
Yeah,
like, that's very, very interesting.
great.
Um,
Yeah.
when it comes to me, the things that you had said, they were it's definitely similar to, my upbringing. I come from a place where, just single mother household. Have to wear many, many, many hats.
Hmm.
Um, and then I feel like there was a kind of I wasn't, seen when it came to just certain conversations. And then that I feel like I've adopted a lifestyle of just not being seen, not being heard, to where I
Hmm.
just distance myself and detach from things and people and not
Hmm.
really creating deeper relationships with people.
Yeah, the connection. Hmm.
So that's where that's where yeah, that's where my story starts. Or not starts.
Okay.
Um that's where it started for therapy, actually. That's where started therapy for me when I kept bringing on so much things, like not knowing that was even a thing. And then
Right.
being in relationships, and then
Hmm.
relatives passing, not just putting all into work. And
Hmm.
so
Hmm.
now in this
hmm
season, I I had got laid off, and I had saved up some money. And during this time where I have some time to think, I've been just peeling it like the banana, just peeling everything off. Like, what's going on? What's going on with your life? Had you even dealt with your father passing? Have
Right.
you dealt with your ex, and have you dealt with your friends and how you treat them, and how you being raised from childhood, how it affects other people? So just creating a new life for me, and
hmm
how I want to see the world, and how I want to show up in it.
Wow. Thank you for sharing as well. I mean, that's it. I guess I'm just really I'm really excited that you guys found the support that you needed. Was it hard to find the support? Or I mean, and I'm just curious, are they of color? Not that it matters really, but sometimes it does.
My therapist is black for sure.
My
Okay.
therapist is black.
Okay, okay. Because I know, what they say, like 2%. There might be 2% of us out there. Um, so I know here in Austin, it can be really hard. But I think here in Austin, it's like a little pocket of us. Um, so was the search hard for y'all to find a therapist of color?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh
Oh my
yeah.
God.
Oh yeah.
But when she reminded me, I don't know, it was so divine, and I was like, I don't even know how to describe it. Kim, she was definitely an angel because I had been reaching out to people, and I was just like,
Mm,
I was exhausted. I was really exhausted, and that was the reason why I said to God what I said to him. I was like, my
hmm.
sunrise is going to be my sunset. I promise you.
Wow.
And
Wow.
when she came through swinging. Like, and she reminded me of um, a mother that I didn't have that I always wanted. The
Mm.
She was the father that I needed that I never saw. She was so good. I mean, she still is.
Oh, I want to
Um,
meet Kim. I want
Kim
her
is
to be my best
fire.
friend.
She's
She does.
Jamaican.
She sells. Is she? Yeah, my
Yeah, she's
family's from
Jamaican.
Jamaica. Well, look at that.
Uh,
Yeah, nice.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, she's
Okay.
phenomenal.
That sounds like my experience when I finally found a black therapist. I was like, I felt like I was just sitting in somebody, just kind of like my delivery. I felt like I was just sitting in her living room and just talking, and
Yeah,
some of the things that she asked me, or I was like, there wasn't that you have to get the background, and that's what a lot of my clients are like. I gotta tell you all this stuff so you can get it first
yeah.
before I tell the rest of the story. Um, and that she changed my life. I didn't even get to tell her. She doesn't. She was older, so I haven't seen her since. That it was because of her why I decided to go ahead and become a licensed therapist to give
Hmm.
what she gave me
Yeah.
to be able to give that back.
Sorry, I know James raised his hand real
Oh,
quick.
sorry, James. I didn't see.
I appreciate that, Rob. I was going to ask you, how did you meet not the first therapist? You said that went like kind of not good. How did you meet the ones for you? Like, was it like
Because
online or?
no, this was before the pandemic.
Oh, okay.
So they weren't doing therapy online. Um, the one that I had, it was like through my works EAP. And
Yeah.
like I said, that experience was horrible. I'm glad I'm here to tell the story. That's all I can say. It was horrible. Um, and it was through talking to someone else about it. It was a white nurse practitioner. I was talking to her, and she's like, because I told her about my experience, and she was like, "Look, I have this black lady that I think is will be perfect for you, or I think you should talk to her." I was like, "Man." But then when she told me, and I went to meet her for the first time, and there were a lot of there were some other women there, and I guess certain nights she would have group. They had food, and they were just talking and everything. I'm like, well, dang, this doesn't feel like a therapy space. You know what I mean? Like, it sure
Mhm.
didn't feel like what I just came from, you
Yeah,
know?
Mhm.
So,
That's that's really interesting, and it that's interesting that you said that. So I was curious on it because it's like to Rob's point in the beginning, like how like we how we were able to establish trust was going to these spaces and understanding like our voice. And so what Rob kind of allows me, I'm gonna kind of say what our group is. Our group, we like Rob said, language is important. So for us, kind of like that idea of food and like lounging, like ours, we call it a kickback.
the kickback,
We call it the I'm him kickback. So we remove
like
the
it.
language of like mental health,
Mm-hmm.
family group, and we call it just fellas just talking. Kind of similar to what you know what you have is real men talk. I think that just cuts out all the other stigma when it's just something that's fun, something that they can relate to, and it's something
Mm-hmm.
people can gravitate towards. And we have a group. It's every week and people just share. Not everyone can
Yeah,
trust the room as quickly,
right.
just because you're entering a space that's not yours. But the more they see like how Rob's comfortable, the more, or they see how I'm comfortable, the easier it gets for people to just speak and just want to be a part of it. They're like, okay, people can
Mm-hmm.
laugh like, oh, this isn't that bad, so.
Right, right. Okay. Yeah, I was talking to somebody else, and it's like we just gonna go in there, chop it up. That's how we gonna do. We just gonna go talk, chop it up, whatever you want to call it. And that was just the way you said it. It's like, yeah, we're just talking, but there's
yeah,
just so much in that sense of community of just talking to be able to
yeah,
get it out. Whether there's answers or not, I mean, I know sometimes there weren't any tools that or something that you mentioned before, but just the freedom of getting it off your chest and for somebody
yeah,
else to be like, wow, or yeah, you too, I didn't even know, right?
Yeah.
So I want to definitely be mindful of time. I don't know, let me pause. Do y'all have any questions for me?
um I would like to know how I or possibly I am him could be of service to you, you know, as far as
Hmm.
like partnerships. Like I know that we
Hmm.
could post it on our social media, you know.
Hmm.
Um, is there anything that you possibly would need from us?
I mean, I would love to, be able to continue conversations like these. We can think of different scenarios or topics, but that would help. I mean, I think it would just be helpful for them to anybody to be able to see
Yeah,
the dialogue,
yeah,
right? Because like you said, we have pictures and I can write and I can post things. Just being on this camera right now is a whole lot. And I'm trying to I'm trying to get better at it. But I think there's nothing like hearing I would say like hearing my voice, hearing my delivery,
hmm,
hearing my
yeah,
approach can kind of just that could be a game changer. um but I can't do that if one, I don't show up, but then for also other guys for them to see that take place, I guess. So
yeah,
I would
yeah,
love to be able to do something like that, or however I can support y'all, because I'm thinking, I want to be able to have a support group outside of, like, I want to be a resource outside of Texas. So that's why I call it a support group.
yeah.
And that's that so that it's not just limited to Texas. Because my friend, he's in Florida. We grew up in Springfield. I'm not originally from Texas. So how
Okay,
and then this other guy that I just met, he's in Georgia.
yeah,
Well, I can't get licensed in all those states. Some of them are easier, some of them are not, right? But then that still means then what?
yeah,
So I'm still
absolutely.
not accessible.
Yeah,
So that's why. because that's what it is. It's not group therapy. It's not there, but we're going to talk about things where people can still get their soul fed and they can still feel like they were seen and heard. Because I saw James over there eating that banana. Where you can just have where you can have a space like that, right? So that really is, I wanted to hear others' perspectives, other men, right? Because I'm a woman, right? I don't
Hmm.
know nothing about being a man. So I'm like, am I far reaching? Am I off the mark? So that's why I decided to give this a try.
Well, I want to affirm you that one, your language sounds amazing.
Thank you.
Um, I appreciate you even doing this. And it's so funny. We're actually going. We're in our fourth week. We're about to go on our fifth week, and we have these same conversations. Like, how do we sound? How do we throw it to each other? So it's like you said. That's a real thing. Being on this camera, and like I'm always nervous. Like I can talk like you, but I am always nervous. And it's funny. So we have a space similar to this, right? But in November, our goal is so we have an app that we're building
Oh, okay.
right now. So it's the
Hmm.
I Am Him app. And it's
Okay.
funny that you said meditation because we're actually looking. So we have partnerships that we're doing on the therapy and coaching side, right? That we're doing. So our app is specifically for black men. It's over 20
Ooh,
spaces, whether it's music, podcast, fitness. Um,
nice.
and then we changed the mental. It was something you said earlier. You was like, how do I not say mental health? We changed our mental health section to mental wellness. We're
Well, to
changing the
wellness.
lane because we feel like mental health has been used as
Hmm.
venom, as a way of just saying like you have an illness, you have a problem. So we changed
Yep.
it to mental wellness. Under there,
Yep.
we have anxiety, we have therapy, we have so many different sections. So we have over 20 different spaces where men could find their community.
Nice.
So also on there, we want to do Sunday meditation,
Mm,
where somebody could just lead a group kind of similar to this. It'll be like on a Zoom and something, and just give men different. Our goal is to give men resources. So we have a check-in that we do every week. We have
nice.
uh, we have so many different things, but meditation is also one of them that we're jumping back into doing interviews of people that may be interested in leading our meditation area for like a partnership
Okay.
just for black
Okay.
men. But we're creating a space just for black men to kind of like our event, like a kickback. We have so many different areas where
Hmm.
um men could stop the excuse, whether it's valid or not, that, oh, we just don't have. We don't know where to get a therapist. Well, we have a section for that. We don't know where to get a coach. We have a section for that. We need to know how to
Yes.
organize a
Yes.
resume. We got somebody for that. So
Yes.
it's a one-stop shop that I Am Him as black men. We named it I Am Him because we want men to accept where they are, whatever that means. If you're emotional, I am him. If you are sad right now, I am him. Like affirm yourself, but also
Wow.
understand that I am him can also get to another level. You know what I'm saying? So we're about elevation. So a lot of what you're saying aligned in everything that we want to do. So that's why it's like we're like, oh, it makes sense why we're in this space.
Exactly. You just took the words right out of my mouth. I'm like, okay, this was not by accident. And
Yeah,
I guess it wasn't by accident that it's just the three of us either. So,
absolutely.
everything happens.
Absolutely.
So uh this has been awesome. And I definitely want to be mindful of the time, and respect y'all's time. And I thank you so, so much for just being here and sharing. And I don't know, you just got me really just really excited. I'm excited for what you guys are doing, and I'm excited to be able to support in any way that I can. Um, and I'll definitely share, resources that I have. I just started like recording some affirmations. Like I'm just really trying to figure out, is this what men need, or am I just
Yes.
doing things and they not gonna? they're not going to use it. I just created like a journal, and it's just for men, and it's a 14-day journal, and it has a bunch of it has affirmations and some reading prompts to just like really take that deeper dive into whatever the prompt might be for that day. To make it easy, right? Like if you can do this in your safe space, right?
Yeah,
At least you have some type of tool or resource and maybe be comfortable to take another little step further as you go along. So,
absolutely.
um,
That's that's
so
that's dope. That's really dope.
thank you, thank you. Gosh, I'm so happy y'all are here. Um, use the I am him
Okay,
email.
so
Was it
that is
you?
our. I don't.
Okay.
James
That
be
was you.
using
That
our.
was Rob.
Okay,
That was
I'd be like
definitely
James be
Rob.
using that email, boy. I be telling. he
That was
Yeah.
Rob.
James is the tech guy, so
Oh,
James just let me know where I need to go, where I need to be. Rob show up, be on time. James
nice.
is very organized. I'm the one that's everywhere. So
Okay. Yeah, so I have that email. So yeah, I mean I'll, send out the end of whatever is here, just my contact information, and we just go from there.
absolutely.
Um
Are you doing this?
um
You're doing this once a month, right?
yep, I'm trying to get it once a month for folks to just come in and be able to share this space. So I'm gonna try to continue to put it on social media and um think of what parts of this maybe to not necessarily share, but to even if it's silent, just to
Hmm.
kind of as an advertisement, like, look, we'll be here once a month. This is Mental Health Awareness Month. So it'd be nice to just even a quick clip or whatever, because I do want to get more men. Like I said, there was 6 signed up. Um, but at least there was 6 signed up. And I still don't know how y'all found me. Was it just off of Eventbrite? I don't think I got that part clear.
I, I,
Yeah,
James sent it
it's
to
off of
me.
Eventbrite. I found you off of Eventbrite. I was just like, I like right to our point. I was, we go to different spaces. We try to look up like where we can just be students and just hear people out. So I was just looking up Black men groups, and yours popped up. Real
Oh,
men talk or real talk, real men talk.
real
I think
talk. Yeah,
real
real talk.
talk.
I'm like, uh-huh.
And I'm like the visual. I'm like this is fire. I'm like this is like I like the imagery. So I'm like yeah, let me. And I seen your bio. I was like, oh, okay, she does counseling. She's she's a therapist. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm subscribing. I'm subscribing.
Okay, so then it definitely was because that's what again, I want to know what captured your attention. So it's the imagery because I love Canva. I'm a Canva junkie a little bit.
Yeah,
But I got to quit hiding behind Canva. So
Mhm.
I'm glad that the image worked and then the language, and I try to keep it as simple as possible because I want folks to know I am approachable and for them not to be
yeah.
scared to show up.
Yeah,
So I'm glad it worked, and I'm glad y'all are here. Um, so well.
appreciate
Y'all
Thank
made
you
this a
so
little bit
much.
easier for me. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be today.
it.
I just might do it again.
Look, you actually did
You
really
should.
great. Like
Yeah,
you're really great.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
yeah. I
Well,
like the presentation. I liked how you started off with the A score and then trickling down from there. And definitely great images. I look like Canva. You're really good at Canva.
hmm,
That's how you build your
Yeah.
presentation. Is it looks really thorough and really clean.
thank
Um,
you.
And
Thank you,
James,
tech
like I said,
guy.
he's
I,
exactly that's exactly what I was gonna say. My tech
I was
guy.
what?
like, if the tech guy says that, I'm gonna take that and run with it for tonight.
Look, I literally because I'm James is more of a presentation person like in our group. And be like, Rob, we got to do the slides. And I'd be like, all right, like, cool. I got to give and take. But what I appreciated the most was your language. And you didn't come off very aggressive. I appreciate just how you were honest and very transparent. And it instantly made me feel like you were open to being trusted for me. So I'm a language person. So
Oh,
I thank you
thank
for that.
you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I would say the same for me as well. If you want to hear what I have to say, I would say
Of
it's
course.
definitely it's definitely yeah, you just being open and transparent, like you saying like, hey, I'm a 5, like this is what this is what I went through, and kind of helped me put like lower my wall, lower my guard down. I know coming in with Rob, is more comfortable, but it still is like a space where I don't, pretty personally, I don't know what's going to come about it. But
Yeah.
you definitely spoke really, really well and helped me like be more confident in speaking. So
Okay. Awesome. Well,
Mhm.
we shall meet again, I
Yes,
guess I
ma'am.
will say.
absolutely,
And once you have my email, like I said, just reach out to me. We'll figure out, between now and the next time we meet, if y'all come in next month. But let's definitely stay in touch, and I want to figure out how we can continue to support
Yes,
and support y'all and support Black men, and just like really be able to um heal our brothers.
absolutely,
absolutely. Thank you so
absolutely.
much. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
You're very welcome. Y'all have a great night.
You too.
You too.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.